My brother married my ex and now our family is falling apart. I, 31M, never thought my family would be the kind to end up on a reality TV show, but here we are, living out a drama that feels too ridiculous to be real. The thing is, I'm not sure how much longer I can keep quiet about everything that's been going on. I guess I should start from the beginning. About 6 years ago, I was in a serious relationship with Emma, 30F. We dated for nearly 4 years, and I was sure she was the one. I was head over heels in love with her, and I had every intention of proposing. She was beautiful, smart, funny, everything I could have asked for in a partner. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but what relationship is? We had our ups and downs, but I always thought we'd work through them. But then, completely out of the blue, Emma broke up with me. She said she felt like we were growing apart and that she needed time to figure herself out. It hurt like hell, but I respected her decision. I tried to move on, though it took me a long time to get over her. I'd occasionally see her on social media, but we didn't keep in touch much after the breakup. Eventually, I met someone else, Mia, 29F, and started dating again, but Emma was always in the back of my mind. Fast forward to last year, and here's where things take a turn for the weird. At a family barbecue, my younger brother Adam, 28M, showed up with a new girlfriend. Guess who it was? Emma. My ex. The woman I had loved and thought I was going to marry. When I saw her, my heart dropped into my stomach. I couldn't believe my eyes. I hadn't spoken to her in years, and now here she was, standing next to my brother like nothing had ever happened between us. To make matters worse, no one in my family seemed to think it was weird. Everyone acted like it was completely normal that Adam was dating the woman I had spent years of my life with. My parents greeted her like an old friend, my cousins made jokes about Adam stealing my ex, and everyone seemed to just accept it without a second thought. I tried to play it cool, but inside, I was seething. It felt like a betrayal, not just from Emma but from Adam too. He knew how serious I was about her, and while he wasn't close with Emma when we were dating, it's not like he was completely unaware of the history between us. I pulled Adam aside later that day and asked him what the hell was going on. His response? Dude, it's been years. You need to get over it. That made my blood boil, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I left it at that. Over the next few months, I did my best to avoid family gatherings when I knew Adam and Emma would be there. I didn't want to deal with it. But then, about 6 months ago, I got some news that pushed me over the edge. Adam and Emma were engaged. My brother was going to marry my ex. I couldn't wrap my head around it. The woman I had once loved, who I thought I'd marry, was now going to be my sister-in-law. The worst part was that my family didn't see why I was so upset. My mom actually had the audacity to say, "You should be happy for them. Emma is a great match for Adam." I felt like I was in the twilight zone. The engagement set off a chain reaction of tension in my family. I've tried to explain to them how uncomfortable the situation makes me, but they just brush it off. My dad, who I've always been close to, told me I was being selfish and that Adam deserved to be happy. My younger sister even said that I was overreacting and acting like a child. Every time I brought it up, it somehow became my fault for not letting it go. Now, the wedding is just 2 months away, and I don't know what to do. Adam asked me to be his best man, and I straight up refused. I couldn't imagine standing there, watching him marry the woman I used to love. Of course, that's led to more drama. Adam and I have barely spoken since. He says I'm ruining his wedding by refusing to be part of it. My parents are pressuring me to put family first and suck it up for the big day, but I don't think I can. How am I supposed to watch my brother marry someone who was once my everything? It doesn't help that I'm still grappling with unresolved feelings for Emma. While I'm happy with Mia, a part of me can't help but wonder what might have happened if Emma and I had stayed together. Seeing her with Adam feels like salt in the wound, and I can't seem to move past it. The whole thing has torn my family apart. Adam and I used to be close, but now we barely speak. My parents think I'm being dramatic and have pretty much taken his side. Family dinners are awkward, with conversations veering away from anything wedding-related because they know it sets me off. Mia has been supportive, but I know she's tired of the constant drama too. I feel like I'm being pulled in a million different directions, and no one seems to get why this is so hard for me. I've been seriously considering skipping the wedding altogether. My family would lose their minds, but I don't know if I can handle being there. The idea of watching them say I do makes me sick to my stomach, and I can't shake the feeling that this whole situation is deeply messed up. But at the same time, if I don't go, it could cause a rift with my family that I'm not sure we'd ever recover from. I guess my question is, am I being unreasonable? Should I just suck it up and go to the wedding, despite how painful it's going to be? Or am I right to feel betrayed and to keep my distance? Part of me wonders if I'll ever be able to look at my brother the same way again. Update. After reading through everyone's advice, I ended up sitting down with Adam for a serious conversation. I told him how much this situation was affecting me and that it wasn't just about Emma, it was about feeling like he didn't care how his actions impacted me. He admitted that he never thought it would hurt me this much and said he was sorry for not being more sensitive to my feelings. As for the wedding, I've decided I'm not going to attend. It's too painful for me, and I think it's best for my mental health to take a step back. My family is upset, but I need to put myself first this time. Maybe, with time, things will heal. My parents cut me off after I refused to follow the family tradition. I, 24F, grew up in a very traditional, conservative family. We live in a small town where most people follow the same path, go to church every Sunday, get married young, have kids, and live a simple, family-centered life. My parents, both 50s, are the definition of old-fashioned. For as long as I can remember, they drilled into me and my siblings that we needed to live according to the family way, which essentially means following the same path they did. For most of my life, I went along with it. I was a good kid, got good grades, went to church, and never caused trouble. But deep down, I always felt different from the rest of my family. While my parents expected me to marry a nice guy from our town, settle down, and start having kids by my mid-20s, I had dreams of something else. I wanted to move to the city, travel, and build a career before even thinking about marriage or kids. When I was 18, I went to college in a bigger city, which was a huge deal for my parents. They had always expected me to stay close to home, but I convinced them that getting a degree would help me later on. College was eye-opening for me. I met people from different backgrounds, learned about different lifestyles, and realized how much I had been sheltered growing up. I loved the freedom of being away from my small town and my parents' constant expectations. That's when I started to drift from the family tradition. I started dating a guy, Alex, 25M, who was nothing like what my parents would have approved of. He was from the city, didn't go to church, and wasn't interested in settling down anytime soon. But he was kind, driven, and we connected in a way I never had with anyone before. I kept my relationship with Alex a secret from my parents because I knew they wouldn't approve. After college, I landed a job in marketing at a firm in the city. I was excited to start my career and live life on my own terms, but my parents had other plans. They expected me to move back home and start thinking about my future, which to them meant getting married and settling down in our town. When I told them I wasn't moving back and was staying in the city to pursue my career, they were furious. For the first time in my life, I stood up to them and told them I wanted something different for myself. I explained that I loved the city, that I was happy building a career, and that I didn't want to rush into marriage like they wanted. They didn't take it well. My mom cried and said I was abandoning the family. My dad said I was being selfish and accused me of turning my back on everything they'd taught me. Things got even worse when they found out about Alex. I had been dating him for 2 years by then, and when I mentioned him to my parents, they lost it. They demanded I break up with him because he wasn't the right kind of man for me. According to them, I needed to find someone from our community who shared their values and was ready to settle down. When I refused, they told me I was making the biggest mistake of my life. Over the next few months, things got really tense. My parents started pressuring me nonstop to come back home, break up with Alex, and follow the life path they had planned for me. They guilted me constantly, saying I was breaking their hearts and tearing the family apart. I tried to explain that I was happy and that I wasn't rejecting them, I just wanted to live my own life. But they refused to listen. Then, one day, they gave me an ultimatum: either I move back home, break up with Alex, and start following the family tradition, or they would cut me off. No financial help, no emotional support, nothing. They said if I chose the city life, I was choosing to leave the family behind. It was the hardest conversation I've ever had. I chose my own life. I chose to stay in the city, keep my job, and stay with Alex. My parents didn't take it well. They cut me off completely: no more calls, no more texts, no more visits home. They even told my siblings to stop talking to me, though my younger brother still sneaks the occasional message to check in on me. My parents have essentially disowned me because I didn't follow the life they wanted for me. It's been almost a year since that conversation, and it's been incredibly hard. I miss my family, and I miss the close-knit community I grew up in. But I also know that I'm happier now than I ever would have been if I'd followed their path. I've built a life that I love, with a partner who supports me, and a career I'm passionate about. Still, there are days when I wonder if I made the right choice. I'm not sure if my parents will ever forgive me.